Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bikinis After Babies. This is our 11th episode, and I am your host, Mandy Rochon, with your other fabulous blonde host.
Hey everyone, this is Gillian Hughes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to share today's episode with you, and I'm really grateful for all the awesome comments and feedback that we've gotten. I honestly am just so excited that we've stayed really consistent and that we have so many great guests that want to come on the show. And yeah, it's been really awesome. So thank you everybody for leaving your feedback and keep doing that so that we can build show episodes around things that you guys want to hear.
Yeah, receiving all the comments on whether it's on Bikinis After Babies podcast on Instagram or our personal Instagrams, any comments that you guys make, like we love them. We love the feedback. We love to know how you think of the episode, what you want to hear in the future, whether it's like other guests or if other guests like have different experiences. And then that way we can kind of narrow down different things and, be able to bring you guys exactly what you would love to hear. And that's why we do this. We want to be able to provide you with all of these different resources and help for your, stage.
Yeah.
So today is Monday. Jillian, how was your weekend?
It was good, just busy. We're like right in the tail end of my son's varsity wrestling season, and cheer is really, really busy. So lots of kids stuff and just like really trying to navigate my prep and plan to make things successful. Like last year, I was doing all of this and prepping for a show that was at the end of March, and it was just really hectic and really crazy. So this year, I've pushed out my first show of the season to a little bit like later in the spring. But yeah, just, for a minute there, it felt like nothing was changing and I was like really stuck. And it was like 1 month into my prep and I don't think the scale had moved at all. And I was like, so frustrated. And I so didn't want to be that person because I'm always telling my clients, like, don't worry about the scale. But I was like, come on. Like, I have really, dug my
Yeah.
teeth in and done like
It's like
everything, like ticked every
move, just
box.
move.
I'm like, come on. And, I vented all my frustration. And like literally the next morning, I was down like 3 pounds. I'm like, I don't know why this happens to me. And I said to my husband, I'm like, can you believe this? He's like, yeah, this happens every year. Like that is one thing he's become sort of an expert in, like how my body changes. Like I remember last year, like in bed, just being like, I'm so hungry. This is so awful. He's like, it's always like this. I'm like, no, it's not. This is definitely the worst. He's like, no, it's always like
Nope.
this. Like, okay. Because you kind of have like amnesia and you can't help but like kind of second think everything. But I mean, I'm so far out. I think it's just like starting a prep heavier is like a bit of a mind F. Like I had to like not bulk, I hate that word, but I had to put some muscle on. And like I've had, seen people that are like, oh, I've gained 15 pounds of muscle. And I'm like, there's no way. Because it's
Yeah.
just not possible, like unless you took like 7 years off. But like,
Right.
you really don't know how much is muscle and how much is body fat. You just don't really know. So I obviously have to titrate my normal scale weight. I'm not going to weigh what I've weighed, the last 3 years. And
Right.
that didn't win me a pro card anyway. So I need to come in a little bit fuller this year. So it's just kind of like that plays on your mind of like, okay, I don't usually
hmm
start prep here. And so just doing the numbers game at this point. But overall, everything is going smoothly. How about you? You're getting closer, like inching away, like week by week. You're
I
nine
know.
weeks out now.
I'm down to single digits, 8 weeks. But I
Eight.
can
Oh my God.
totally, I know, I can totally relate to what you're saying though about the scale. Like, because it, like, you don't know what you look like, right? Like, you have no idea, like, coming in from an off season, even if you did like a perfect off season, whether you had a messy, nasty off season, but like, whatever happens, like, coming out of an off season back into like 10 weeks out, like, you have no idea what you're going to look like till you get closer. But like, also, your scale isn't going to be what it was your last show. Like, you can't think like that because the same thing that you said goes for me. I needed more muscle. I did. So my weight shouldn't be the same, but it's still like as females, we're like, it should be so small. Like, no,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be, right? So I'm actually really I've just been again staying calm, enjoying the process. So I'm really curious to see like what my show day like numbers are, my hip,
Uh-huh.
waist, my weight, everything, like to see what it is like come show day. it'll be kind of neat to like be able to compare. But no, I've been feeling really good. 8 weeks out and just
Yeah.
excited. Like I'm just ready. Like this happens to me every time. I'm just like, can we go now? Can we just go now? No,
Yeah.
like I'm I'm getting, the little tired. I get more sleepier, I want to rest a little more. The weights are getting a little more heavier. They are. They're getting a little extra. So that's been fun. At the gym, I laugh at myself cuz I'm like, can I do can I do that plate? Can I do it? So that's been
Hmm.
fun compared to like 5 weeks ago. I'd be like, two of them, let's go, right?
Yeah.
But no,
Do
I
you
just had
like
soccer.
change your training time at all, like to adapt to that so that you have like more energy, or do you like change your food timing to help your workouts at all?
So I told myself I would if I needed to, but I haven't needed to do that. I've been feeling really good. So this was really interesting because I thought, okay, back about like 15 weeks, like when I was about 15 weeks out, I thought as I would get closer, I would get hungrier and it would get harder to work out because I work out at about 8 o'clock in the morning to about
Yeah.
9:30. So my coach was just like, as it gets closer, do whatever feels right for you. If you feel like you have to push your workout time back because you need more food, great. If you don't, just keep doing what you're doing. It's fine. So I'm like, okay. So as of right now, I feel totally fine. Like when I go to the gym, I feel like I had enough. I'm not hungry. Like I'm good. So I haven't had to do that, but I do have the flexibility if I would need to have like extra food. So I
Yeah.
did think of that though. But yeah, no, it hasn't
Sometimes you
happened.
have to, just
Totally.
but also like I prefer to do cardio fasted. So
Me
that's the
too.
one thing I kind of start doing when my cardio increases is I like will move that from like post workout. I do that like before I eat breakfast, and then I try to train after breakfast if I can, just to make me a little bit more optimal. But
That's exactly what I do. I do my cardio before everybody gets up and then get everything going and then eat and then
yeah,
go weight train. Um, but yeah, no, I
awesome.
had soccer this weekend because it's nicer here in Kansas City. It's nice enough in Kansas
Hmm.
City. We have outdoor soccer games that got rescheduled. So we had
So crazy.
three. Yeah, we had two or three soccer games this weekend. They were all
Yeah,
outside, so still had to bundle up. It was still kind of like icky, but it was
yeah,
fine. Like it was doable, like 40
yeah.
degrees or something. So it was nice. But no, I did that, and I also kind of was like looking as you get closer to about like 8 weeks out, it's really about the time where you should be shopping or ready to order your suit for your show. So I was definitely shopping around. I was looking at different suits, different colors, and I absolutely knew the color I wanted to go with, and I definitely wanted to use Toxic Angel. Something really exciting happened.
Do you want me to share? I'm so excited. Oh,
I
okay. I was like, I don't think you'll make a big enough deal out of this, so I wanted to share. So Mandy has been offered a sponsorship with Toxic Angels bikinis, and I'm so excited because we love them. Their suits are beautiful. I've been with them as a sponsored athlete for like 7 years. I won their athlete search in like 2007, I think. Does that make sense? No, 2017. Oh my God, how old am I?
there I was
Um,
like, wait a minute,
so
that's like
I don't even know. No. So anyway, so yeah, so she had mentioned that she had an opportunity to speak with them and it all worked out. So I'm really excited. So you can use code Mandy to save 15% on your order, or you can use code Gillian. We don't want to tell you which one to choose. You just choose whichever one you want if you're looking to purchase a suit. And also, you can ask us any questions about their suits, and, fit and all the things. And we're just really excited because now, with our show doing this together and being able to promote one bikini company, which is, in my personal opinion, the best in the business. I've been with them for a long time, and their customer service is amazing. Their suits are beautiful,
they're
and their
very
team,
sweet.
yeah, and they have like such a great process of like helping you decide the fit, because I mean these are customized to your body, and there's so many options. There's just no way you could be like just add to cart. Like you need somebody to help you. So we're happy to answer any questions, but they have a wonderful process of helping you order your suit. And with our codes, you'll save 15%. So I'm so excited. Welcome to
Yeah.
the team, Mandy. This is so great. I'm so excited
I
for
know.
you.
I was so honored and I was humbled and I was like, well, and then the craziest thing about this, which I didn't even tell you about this, but the suit, I already knew like the suit I wanted once I saw it's Jennifer Dory's suit, like that teal green color. Once I saw that on stage, I was like, that her tan, that color, that everything. I was like, that's the suit I want. And I knew I wanted that suit. Like I knew the next time I went on stage, like that's the suit I wanted. And I actually didn't know it was the Toxic Angel suit until I like was like, who like looked, right? And then I was just like, oh my God. And then like I've heard amazing things about them. I've supported them. I've met with them, talked with them. They do so much for the community too. Like they are always at the shows. They're always doing different like giveaways. They're always doing different sales. So like I was just elated. Like I was so excited to be able to talk with them. And then just to be able to be offered a sponsorship was like, it was so humbling.
Yeah.
But this is a perfect segue into our topics today, right? So
Yeah.
we wanted to talk today about, the cost of competing and how to like budget for competing and different ways you can utilize a lot of different things and ways to be able to save money whenever you're going down the road for like prepping a show.
Absolutely. And I thought it would tie in really well to be able to share your experience with getting a sponsorship. You have multiple sponsorships, and we can kind of share or shed a little bit of light on the subject of how to go about getting a sponsorship, what you might not know about sponsorships, like, could you be considered for, some of these things that exist, or creative ways to help other businesses to be able to fund your competition journey. And so this whole topic's really going to be about money and budgeting and all those things, because if you're brand new and you don't know, it might be a deterrent. And like I'm here to tell you that like there's so many ways to save, and there's
so many.
This sport has people from high school age like all the way up to 50s and 60s. Everyone's budget is different, and there's a way for everyone to do it. So we wanted to be able to share a bunch of different tips and tricks that we've found over the years to be able to help you to make it happen.
Yeah. So I will say one of the biggest things I've learned is whenever you're paying for NPC entry fees. So entry fees, most of them are usually going to be like, I would say like around 125, 150 per entry. We'll say that. Maybe if you go to a national level and you're paying for national shows, they're going to be more expensive. But like, let's say you want to do multiple categories, you want to try a bunch of different stuff, and that's a hefty bill. Like if you have to pay an entry fee for every single time you're entering, right? So if there is a supplement company, a supplement shop, something like that in your community that you have just gone to frequently, you really enjoy, like you talk with them a lot, you can feel like talking to them about like, hey, I'm going to do this show. I'd love to rep your brand. I'd love to, be able to support your product. I really enjoy your product. Is there like some type of business relationship we could work together and you guys could maybe help me out with some of my entry fees because I want to go on stage so many times, and then this way I could also help you guys with like marketing. That right there is so easy, and you can do that across the board with a lot of different companies. And just talk to them. Treat it like a business. It's a business venture. It's marketing. You're giving a service. They're giving a service. You guys are working together. You're collaborating and growing in something that you both like love and want, right?
Right. I mean, the answer is always no if you don't ask. So, a lot of people are just afraid to ask. But I mean, your social media is something that you can leverage and be able to offer something back to the business. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like I've known people that have gotten sponsored by like hardware stores. Like it's just having that relationship and then being able to provide something in return, such as, a post or, a story or something like that. When you're competing, if you're somebody who shares often, like parts of your journey, your workouts or your progress. And I think it's amazing when people do that. And a lot of times people do that just for their own personal accountability, but that's something that you can leverage because when people are watching, they're very curious. What do you do? What supplements do you use? What kind of teeth whitening do you use? Like, where do you get your waxing? Like, these are all little businesses sort of like in the area of beauty and fitness that might have a vested interest in having you maybe make a post and then they will sponsor you. Like every little bit helps. So again, I just think you have to ask. And if they say no, it's fine. Like you're not out anything, right? But at least
Right.
you'd be very surprised how many people want to support you. And so, just kind of think about places that you frequent, businesses that you interact with. And, that's, I think, like the most easy way to kind of get started getting sponsored. But I don't think that it necessarily has to be the size of your following that determines your level of sponsorship. I think there's so many different companies out there and a lot of places are getting started as well. And they would love to have a competitor represent them. And certainly they're not going to be able to get someone who's been on the Olympia stage for nothing. They might not have the budget to have someone like that, but somebody who's
Right.
newer that, they can afford to maybe, give you a little something towards your entry fees or whatnot. I think that that's definitely, those opportunities are definitely out there.
Yeah, I will say the more companies I've talked to, it is way more about consistency. Like Toxic Angel, I can see that they're liking my stuff, they're commenting on my stuff, but why are they doing that? Because I'm tagging them, because I'm talking with them back, I'm interacting with them. I feel like whenever it becomes more humanizing and you're humble about it, it might take you a long time. Like you might be doing that for like 6 months, a year, but then you could have this relationship form where it does pay off. Like you get, a sponsorship and you would get like this beautiful like for me like this beautiful suit. I'm honored by this great company. I'm so excited, but I could see that they enjoyed my consistency. They liked what I was constantly like putting out there, right? And I've also worked in the industry. I've worked with NPC Midwest. Like I've been out there. I've committed. I've stayed very diligent with like I knew that I want to grow in this sport. Okay, so if I want to grow in the sport, I want to stay consistent and I want to stay dependable and I want to do what I'm going to say I'm going to do. So by doing that, I'm showing the companies, I'm showing the people I'm working for, the working with that like this is like what you can expect out of me and this is how I'm going to be and if you like that, like let's work together. Like
Yeah.
let's form a relationship together, right? So, it doesn't have to be about the following. It is so much more about the consistency because if you can have a huge following but if you're only posting like every once in a while and your following is created from like a year ago because like you were consistent a year ago and you're not anymore, that's not going to be the same as somebody that's like posting constantly and interacting and talking and being out in the community and doing those things like it's not going to
Yeah.
be the same.
I think companies look at that too. Like they can tell that, nobody's commenting, which means that, you aren't really influencing people. And that's kind of where that term influencer came from. Is what it
Yeah.
essentially means is like if you know, are asked frequently where you get your hair done or, what kind of eyelashes you use or where you shop, you're influencing other people's purchases. So companies are kind of looking for that. So like you look at like big sponsorships, that sort of thing like really does matter. And I think sometimes people will just be like, oh, well, I would never be able to get a sponsorship like this until I were to, qualify for the Olympia or win a pro show. And so,
Yeah.
but I mean, you don't want to start there anyways. Like if you don't have any experience working with other companies, you definitely don't want to like just, shoot your shot with the big guns, like kind of start smaller. And like even like your gym, like they might be willing to give you a discounted member of, start there. And, anytime you're doing anything, like I tag Bombshell all the time. They ain't never going to sponsor me because they're just not. I won't stop shopping there, but I do tag them. And for like every 5 posts, I think they give you like a $10 coupon. I'll take it. Okay. So like these are other things that you can kind of think of. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's one thing. I mean, I've seen people put together a GoFundMe. Why not? I mean, who
Oh, I've
cares?
seen that too.
I think like, if if this is something that's a real huge stretch for your budget, but you have the passion, you just have to get creative. So sponsorships, I think there's some that are, you have to be careful that they're not asking like too much of you, because some companies, they want to like take over your whole feed and they want every post to be about them. And if it just feels kind of like it's, not authentic and really forced, then it might not be a really good fit. So it should sort of feel like everybody's like getting, equal. If somebody's like, oh, I'll give you $75 towards your show, but you have to make 75 posts, you might be like, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe that'd be worth it if you really wanted that. But, and then also like, if somebody's like, oh, I make sunscreen for babies, like, will you please make like 100 posts about sunscreen for babies? And you're kind of like, I mean, I don't know if that
That's a
relates
rough
to kind
one.
of yeah. So like, sometimes you'll just get, people reaching out and wanting to use your following for weird ways. So, I think that it's just all a matter of starting with relationships with businesses that you have, and go from there. And like, there are big ones like, companies like First Forum, they have challenges and all sorts of things that you can get involved. And I think that's like, to your point, Mandy, like just being involved and making connections, like then amazing things happen, going to workshops, going to seminars, interacting with people. Like when you're at your show, walk around and go to the booths and talk to the people who are working with the booths and make sure
Yep.
they know you. And if you don't have a business card, you can set up, what's it called? I think it's dot cards. And they give you like a little
Oh, the
card with
scanner
a,
thing.
yeah, with a QR code.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got some way for people to connect with you after the show, and you can start making those connections at your first show. Because again, most shows that you go to are going to have vendors and sponsors and things like that. Like, go around and be friendly and talk to them. Hey, it's my first show. I'm like totally excited. And, where are you from? Tell me about your business, and like start to make those connections. And that's a really great way, because here's the thing, nobody really stays at the top forever. Like, people are always kind of rotating through the sport. People come
Yeah.
and go. So just because they already have sponsored athletes doesn't mean those people are going to be there forever. And if you're, new, and you are, fresh and excited, and you bring something new to the table, there could be opportunities for you as well. So just big
Yeah.
time networking.
Yeah, always going to as many events as you like possibly can. And I will say that sometimes I can feel like you're asking a lot, right? Because I will say when I started in this, so I started in the sport two 2016. Um you would never catch me dead at any of that. Just because like I wouldn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't know how to communicate with
Yeah.
people. I'd be kind of shy, like more reserved. And now like if you think of it like you're putting in a lot of work, right? You're training, so many days a week. You're dieting every 24/7. You're grinding with your posing. You're doing a lot of work. Like you are worth it. You are worthy enough. Like you are enough. And you just in our sport we strive for perfection. We strive for that. Will we ever get it? No. But like we'll never stop trying, right? So having like that energy of like you're doing this amazing thing and you're going to keep growing, and then having that like energy just around you and carrying it. So when you go to work, so like now I go to as many things as I possibly can. Now I'll go to workshops. Now I'll go meet people. I'll like, if somebody wants to stop and talk to me at the gym, if anything, like you guys in St. Louis have the workshop here coming at the end of February. We
Hmm.
have a great workshop here in March 9th, and I'll be at both of them. You'll be at the St. Louis one. I'll come to both of
Hmm.
them, but it's just, you meet so many people. And then
Hmm.
those people like, I see it at every workshop I've gone to, right? They'll stay and they'll talk and they'll mingle. And you want to keep doing that. And you want to stay consistent. And you want to stay, if you want to catapult this as like a career, you want to stay relative. So even with social media, if you're not a poster every day, like that's okay. But still stay genuinely relative, right? So like still be out in the community, little, social media, meet and greet, go to the competitions that are in your area, like just be around. So then that way, like when you form relationships and you want to utilize them or you want to grow them, it's not falling short. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
well, like you kind of come and go, you're inconsistent. Like, oh, I might see you next year, I might not. So
Hmm.
because I've had females come up to me, and they'll say, I want to do all the stuff that you do, and I'll always say it never happened overnight.
Yeah, it does take time, I think, to be able to, build, but it's so worth it. So you just have to start, like just get started and meet people, mingle, put yourself out there, and then eventually like bigger things like do come. But, and I'm not saying it's ever too late to start, so I think that that's just it. Yeah, the things that are happening now for you, Mandy, and other things that are kind of developing on my end, like it's because of the foundation that I laid. But it's never too late to get that going. And like this is, it can be a very expensive hobby, but it doesn't have to be. We can segue into some ways that we've learned to save money. I have like several on my brain right now because I'm booking all the things, all the travel, all the things right now, and looking at sort of like ahead at like the next, 6 months ahead of me. So what are some
So
of
I was
your tips, Mandy?
so I was curious, because I actually I've made a spreadsheet for this show, this 2024, because I was curious, right? I mean, I kind
Uh-huh.
of know, like, I've done it, like, I know a little bit, but I was a little curious this time. So I will say something that has saved me a bunch of money, other than a beautiful two sponsorships from Toxic Angel, is my flight. So I am flying to Orlando from Kansas City. I'm flying with myself, my husband, and my son, right? So we have a direct flight here in Kansas City, but it's still paying for three plane tickets, round trip. Like that's expensive. So what I did to save a lot of money was I had some reward points that I just racked up over time with a hotel company. I cashed out those reward points, used them as gift cards. And then I not only had those setting aside, I waited until there was a sale and like a dip in airline pricing, and I bought at that time. And so I
Yeah.
bought with gift cards, and so for a round trip for three people, $700. So
Nice.
yeah, I was like, and it was like, it's like medium class, like not last on the plane, not first on the plane. It's like middle.
Medium class.
And it fit. And I don't know what they
I
call
like
it all
you
sorts of
invent words. You're my favorite. That's so funny.
I do. What was I said met-ish, kinda.
That's
Um,
funny.
that has saved me a bunch of money. What
I got
about
I
you?
got
So
one.
what is yours?
Okay. Well, so this is if you this is probably like just travel in general, not necessarily for competing, but because I coach most of the shows in the area, I can't compete and coach at the same time. So I'm like by default, I always travel for shows, and like it adds up. And so first thing I did was I have a Southwest credit card, so you can get like companion points and all kinds of stuff. I even saved money when I opened it, so like that's like the only credit card I use, and so that's great. Also learned that Southwest flights are the cheapest on Monday. So I always,
Oh,
if I have a trip coming up, I'll always log in on Monday morning and take a look and see. And then I look at my prospective flight that I want, and then I'll write it down. And then I come back, throughout the week, just kind of peek in every now and then. But typically Mondays are the cheapest. And that's usually when I book. Like I'm going to Orlando for a conference in the beginning of April. And the flight that I booked, I got it for like 125 each way. And later
oh
in the
wow.
week, like last week when I looked, it was like 275. So it's like more than half off today. And there
Mm-hmm.
are sales that go on, but sometimes like those sales are only for certain airports. And so if you have something kind of specific, so that would be like for booking flight, I would say log in on Monday and do that. Or if you can move your fly in, fly out dates, sometimes that saves you a little bit of money, but then you end up staying there too. And then as far as hotels, like just always use the group hotel. And then if you've got a teammate, like you're on a big team, I'm on a big team. We have Facebook pages. If I was really trying to like budget more, like, well, and I am, but I don't always want to stay with complete strangers. So, but
Yeah.
if you're literally like, I got to cut as many dollars as possible, find a roommate so that you don't have to stay by yourself and pay for the entire room fee. That's a really easy way to do it. Like I've been on teams before where
Right.
like there's four girls in a room, and it makes it so much more affordable because, these
Yeah.
show fees can add up. And then sometimes like, you have to add a show onto your schedule. Like maybe you were like, hoping to qualify at a certain show or turn pro at a certain show and it doesn't happen. And now you've got to turn around and book travel 2 weeks away, looking at sort of like, what's the best option, flying, driving, staying in a hotel and cutting, costs as much as possible. But I would say like when you start your season, you've got your shoes, you got your jewelry, you got your suit, you kind of got your NPC card, any other shows you do, what your booking is, you're paying for extra tanning, extra lodging if you're going out of town or out of state, and then your show fees. So, but I think too, like, some of these shows you can do 6 classes. Like if you're a brand new masters competitor over 40, you can do like true novice, novice open,
You can do all of them.
35 plus,
except,
40
yeah.
plus. You can do novice 35. Like that's so many you don't need to do. You could, but it's tiring to do 6 classes.
And it's
So
a lot of
that's,
running like around too.
yeah, yeah. I definitely say don't just do one, but that's kind of, another way. And again, once you get your jewelry, you don't have to get anything fancy. Literally, they don't
Right.
pay that much attention to your jewelry. So, like, I get people like, oh, what do you think of these 12 pairs of earrings? Like, which ones are the best? I'm like, it doesn't really matter. Like, like
Yeah.
you need one pair. Nobody's looking. I've seen people lose one backstage. I swear the judges didn't know you were missing an earring. Things like that don't really,
Yeah.
we can tend to like hone in on those little details and that they end up costing us a lot of money that we didn't like. Why did I spend all that money on this? I never needed it.
Right. And I think it causes us a lot of stress because like when we get so hyper focused on something that is really not a big deal, like jewelry is probably like one of the things. Like we overthink it so much. Like the dangly of the earrings, this. Now, granted, no, it shouldn't be distracting. Like you shouldn't wear something that is not common, I want to say. So like something like you don't want to wear like a long dangly necklace. Like that's not something that you want to wear. But if you like look at npcnews.com and you see like what, people wear, you see on Instagram like what the pros kind of wear. It's like, okay, pick some rings, pick some bracelets you like, pick some earring, like an earring you
Yeah.
like, and that's as much thought as that really needs to go into it. I will say if you are trying to like budget for it, like be really like careful how much you spend. Some of the jewelry I will say I've seen now like at Claire's or I've seen at like other
Yeah.
like department like stores where you can buy a bunch of stuff. Like just buy a bunch of stuff for like $10 and
Yeah.
just bring it all with you and be like which one looks best, right?
Yeah,
So,
jewelry is definitely like that. It shouldn't be a huge expense, but sometimes people have like 3 different pairs of earrings to choose from, and it really doesn't need that much. You don't need that much variety. They also always have like their best sales around like, 4th of July, Christmas, Black Friday. Like if you're looking at buying certain things, like follow all these companies so you can see when their best deals and best coupons are. And then most of these companies also have ambassadors. Like Mandy and I are both ambassadors and sponsored athletes with Toxic. And I have an ambassador code for Shoe Fairy. I have an
Shoe
ambassador
Fairy.
code for like Squeeze Me Skinny. Like, so everybody's got coupons. So, always use those coupon codes. Like I'm like of the opinion, anytime I buy anything, I always try to see if there's a coupon code somewhere because there probably is. Even
started
like with
doing that.
supplements. Yeah. You just, they're like, I don't know that this is the actual price. Let me see if I can find a coupon. But even like I've seen like posing suits and shoes and jewelry on Mercari and Poshmark. And so, those are things like if somebody has a brand new pair of shoes that they've never opened and they were past the return date, what are they going to do with them? They're probably going to put them on Poshmark. So like that's
Yep.
another way to kind of, if you want to invest the time in kind of doing that. But then, and we're talking that would save you 20, $30 here and there, which is great. Right. But overall, I think it's important to like just look at everything, and I've got actually, I see if I can link it below, or you can just message me and I'll send it to you. But I have like an actual rundown of all the costs. And we give it to our brand new competitors just so that they can sort of budget. And sometimes I have to go, okay, if we have 4 months to the show, month 1, we're going to pay for this. Month 2, we're going to pay for this. Month 3, this is what we're going to do, just to kind of spread out the cost. Because the last thing you want to do is like have everything come up at once. You put it on a credit card and then you've acquired debt. It doesn't have to be that way,
Yeah.
So spreading things out, I think, is the biggest thing. And, really just thinking about show day, the tan and the makeup, those are things that, you can't get around that. I think makeup, even if you wanted to do it yourself, by the time you buy the dark foundation and the dark setting powder and the dark lipstick, you can just pay someone to do it and it will be perfect and nice and
I feel like
relaxing.
it's such a double-edged sword. Like the tanning,
Yeah.
absolutely, I would never not use the promoter's tanning. But with makeup, I have seen people do it and it looks good. It works. I've only seen this look good and work at an amateur level. I've never seen
Hmm.
it at like anything above that. And then I will say the one time or the few times I've seen it look good, I've seen it 10 other times bad. So like
Hmm.
it doesn't match the tan. It's not, poppy enough. It's not complimentary. Like there's just so much that can go wrong and it's very stressful. That's another thing on show day is like you want to be so relaxed and not stressed. The last thing you want to do is be like staring at yourself in the mirror, looking at your makeup and be like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Just no, just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
I've known people that have taken the time to like watch lots of tutorials and buy product and do all of that. And I've seen it come out really great, but they wanted to invest the time in order to save the money. And maybe they had multiple shows, so it was like worth it to them. But if you're not good with makeup, and you don't have any product, like I'm talking about people that like have a good supply of makeup brushes and maybe their friends ask them to do their eye makeup and whatnot. Like, yeah, there are plenty of
They
great
have good
tutorials out
foundation.
there, but I feel like it's just risky to, get up there and like, what if your face is like the wrong shade? And, it at the end of the day, it's just one little thing that it might save you $50 or something to do it yourself. But then if having it done better, you end up with a better score, then you have
Right.
you make a better use of the other money that you've spent on the show. So I think those are just things that every person's a little bit different. And I think on a
Yeah.
prior episode I talked about not doing your own tan, and like ProTan does have a
Yeah.
wonderful DIY kit, tons of instructions. I can't reach my damn back to save my life. I did a like at home tan the other day just because we were going somewhere, and it was literally just the front of my body because I'm like, well, it's winter, like nobody's gonna see anyways. So I can't imagine trying to do my own tan in my hotel room. And then not to mention like my skin was prepped and everything and I was still smearing it everywhere and like my fingers were brown. I'm like, I when they do it professionally, they airbrush you and it just lands nicer and everybody's the same
Yeah.
shade. And
And they
it's
make sure you're all
just,
clean. Yeah.
yeah, they like dust your, oh my God, I almost said they dust your cracks.
They look at everything.
They
Well,
take
and
that
they
powder and they put it like in your, like the
yeah, the
crack of
baby
your elbow and
powder.
like your armpits and stuff. Is it baby powder? It's like
I
sparkly, like
think.
it's like, I don't know. But it makes you not like
No, I'm
as
gonna ask. I don't
sweaty,
know.
I guess. I'm always like, can I have
Yeah,
a little bit for my
it
butt
makes it
crack?
dry and you makes it not sweaty and it's just nice. It
Yeah.
like you don't again, it's one less thing you have to stress about and it's so important. Like it's so astronomically important because if your tan looks bad, if you're not a good shine in the light, like that's everything you just worked so hard for on stage for the 15 seconds you're on stage and you wanted
Hmm.
to cut some cost of maybe because you still got to pay for the do-it-yourself kit, right? You still got to pay for all of that.
Yeah.
So maybe you cut your cost by like $50. Really? Like, no, like it's just not worth it. And then
Yeah.
always keep in mind that you don't have to get new things. Like you were saying before, you have your NPC card. That's good for a calendar year. If you have your suit purchased, you have your heels, you have your jewelry. So you have a good bulk of all of this stuff, right? So the other thing is just be the entry fees and the tanning and the makeup. And kind of like we said at the beginning of this, like if you start kind of looking at the sport as a business because you want to grow in the business, you want to make it a career, start talking to those people. Start talking to the tanning company. Start talking to the makeup people. Maybe it's a new makeup artist who wants to make a name for themselves in the field and they did a phenomenal job and they're like, "Oh, well, I'll if you tag me in a bunch of stuff, I'll cut $20 off." Like
Yeah.
you have to ask and you have to talk. And same with tanning. Like, talk to them, like mingle with them, like try to make a relationship with them because you never know what could come out of this. And you could meet like, well, you will be the greatest people, like the nicest people, but like this could be like your next best friend. Like you never know. Like how many people have we met backstage and like I still talk to them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just such an amazing sport.
Yeah. We can definitely justify the spending because of, how much it's given to us. And, I think even if I didn't have a career in the fitness industry, I would still be involved in the fitness industry. And I actually probably left my career so I could be more involved in the fitness industry, because what started to happen for me was I wanted to do photo shoots and go to meetups and, do extra shows, and I started judging and didn't want to turn down judging opportunities. And at that time I had a career in nursing and was coaching people on the side, and decided to make coaching my full-time business because I wanted more time for my passion, which was the fitness industry. So I'm not saying leave your job, but that's just, that's what happened for me. But,
Yeah.
again, I think because competing has, been something that I did in my 20s, my 30s, now my 40s, it's given me so much, and I've made so many amazing friendships, and it's just, it's been worth every penny that I've spent, for sure.
Right. And I love that. I love that. Like you leaned into it. Like you knew that was your calling, right? It was
Hmm.
interesting because for me, it definitely, I don't know. I honestly, to this day, look back and I'm not really sure why, but I can always look back and be like, I was the happiest when I was in prep, when I was getting ready, when
Yeah.
I was going to the gym, when I'm prepping my food. Cause this is always, and of course, we've said this on many episodes. Like people always ask me, like, oh, don't you wish you could just go out whenever you want and eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want, all this stuff, right? And I think about it, I'm like, well, I did do that, right? We've all done that. But
Hmm.
the happiest and the most like fulfilled I have felt is when I'm doing something in this sport. And I think it took
Hmm.
me a long time to like listen to myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like to be like, you know what? This is when you're happy. These like you're helping people. You're in the sport. You're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like I need to I need to embrace this. This is who
Hmm.
I am. This is what I love. And I just need to give it my all because this is what is going to make me the happiest. And once I kind of realized that, and I think 2022, one kind of going into 22, I was like, I'm just going to talk to all these people and meet all these people and go to all this stuff and just work, like work
Yeah.
and, and be grateful. If that is one thing that like I I'm just so grateful for all of the opportunities and I am so humbled and I love all the work. I love all the things I do and I love helping everybody and I love giving to as many people as I possibly can because, nobody teaches nutrition.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches working out. Like you have to love that and then go teach yourself it. You have to go get certified. But like we all know this is a self-developing like
Yeah.
field, right? And like embracing that and wanting to learn every day and then give it to others is the best like
I know.
job I could ever ask for.
I agree. I think it's for me, like, I all day long I talk to people who are interested in learning about, our coaching programs and, what we offer. And I think it's so stressful for somebody to just not understand their body and like have this
Hmm.
huge knowledge gap. But I think I feel that way about other things. Like, I don't know a lot about mortgages, and I have an accountant who handles finance. I wish I had a better handle on those things, but nutrition and exercise, I got it. I know this. This is what I've
Yep.
done for so long. And so I talk to so many people that are freaked out because they've reached a point in their lives where their body's, not where they want it to be at all. They can't figure out why, and they're so frustrated and they feel very desperate. And so I'm grateful that I get to help those people and give back. And then I'm so grateful that because of this sport, I know these things already. Like it's not for me like this big thing of information and I don't know what's real and I don't know what is being pushed out by marketing of certain companies. Like I know the good stuff from the bullshit because I've been doing this for so long and I'm so glad. And so yeah, it is like personally it's done so much for me, but then to give back. And also going back to the gratitude thing, like yeah, this is a luxury to be able to do this. And it's a hobby that, not everybody understands, and that's okay. And you might have somebody be like, why, what do you win? Like, why would you even do that if you don't get a prize? I'm like, this is the prize. Like, my personal development is the prize. And so,
Self-development. Hmm.
yeah, it is like, the person that you become and pushing through the hard times, like I can't think of anything else in my life that would give me that other than this. It's so not about the body. Like I think initially probably people are like drawn to it because of that, but that's so not what's kept me here for like almost 20 years. Like there's
Yeah.
more. And when you look at people who've had long careers, like this is about so much more than just how they look, right?
It is. Absolutely. Like I feel like your first show to second show, it's about like look at this. Look at this, right? Like you're excited, right? It's probably the first time you've had abs. Like you're excited.
Yeah.
But then eventually like you lose the abs and all that, and you're back to kind of like, a healthier but like normal physique, and it's like what brings you back and
Hmm.
why are you coming back? And like you said, you slowly start learning about yourself. Like it's there's something there that's not it's not about the way you look. It's not about like going to the gym and like being the best looking person at the gym. It's how you feel, and it's what you've learned about yourself, and
Hmm.
it's what you've learned. You learn something that you can take with you your whole life, because I feel like that's also the thing, like we learn something in our prep. Like let's say you do one prep. Okay, you
Hmm.
do one prep, it's 20 weeks. You just learned something in 20 weeks that you know for the rest of your life, like
Yeah.
what you can do with food and proper
Hmm.
exercise.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you only do it once, I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's like there's nothing like it. It is definitely, a game changer, and it's just something that is rare. Not a lot of people are doing it. I mean, it's growing, but I mean, what is it like 0.1% of the population will do it? And sometimes that's the draw for people of being like, I want to do something, really
Yeah.
extreme. So, but yeah, I don't know. I know I've gone on a tangent. I
I know,
can't
I feel
even
like
remember
I
what we
did
were
too.
talking about. I know. And I'm like,
Saving money.
yes, saving money. But no,
We
I
we
think
we
that's
got a gratitude tangent.
yes, I know. And I saw the feels there. Your voice changed a little bit. You got a little serious. I'm like, is she gonna cry right now? Are we like in the 8 week out feels? Do you get like emotional when you're in prep? Like I cry in like the very
I
end of prep. I cry all the time. Do you? Are you not
so
like
I
that?
don't I do get emotional. I do get emotional, but like I get more emotional because I'm so happy. Like
Ah,
it's
happy
weird.
cries.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's I cry just because I'm like so excited and I'm so happy. And kind of like you were saying about hunger, I get like cold, or I get like it's hard for me to warm up. And it's so funny because I used to think this was like a hormonal thing, because like my thyroid activity would dip down in my prep. Well, come to find out, it's just kind of how I am. So
Uh,
like I like will just lay on the couch with my heating blanket, and I'll just be like so happy because I'll just be like, I'm going on stage here soon and it'll be so
yeah.
pretty. And I love like my boys always just they have a lot of fun because we usually travel, and they'll have like they'll do fun stuff and they get to make memories, and it's just like a really good time. And I'm like, I just get all excited and I get all warm and
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Yeah. The prep feels.
Yeah, it's
I
always a
love
good
it.
time. Hmm.
I know. I have those moments where I just feel like, oh, I'm so proud that I pushed through and I want it so bad. And, and I'm like, I love sports. Like, I love my kids' sports. I cry and everything. Like, I'm literally that mom, like at the cheer competition, like, ooh, like bawling my eyes out because I'm so proud of them. It's just like, it's so emotional when you put so much into something and then you have this like big moment. So sometimes just, you get in your feels. You have those songs that come on, and I'm driving to the gym and I'm like, ooh. Not like
Yeah.
I'm crying because I'm sad or I'm stressed out, but just like emotional. I don't know. And like, and your hormones
Mhm.
change in prep too, and your body fat dips low, and you're just like, I don't know. It's a mess, but it's just part of it.
It's it's always a good time.
It's a good time. I promise. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
All right. Well,
So
we're
yeah.
almost coming up to an hour. We're
How
just
did
about
that
at an hour.
happen? Oh
I
my
know,
God.
cause when we do these, man, we can just talk forever.
Hmm. And I'm finally
But
feeling better. Like the last like 3 episodes,
yeah.
I think I've been like muting my mic so I could cough, and I'm still really nasally and I'm on it like
You
decongestants and
sound
stuff,
a
but
lot better though. Because it's funny
thank
because you
God,
would tell
yeah.
me that you're nasally and I'm like, you're not that bad. But now I'm like, oh, okay, you were kind of
You just got
nasally.
used to my voice. You're like, this
I
is just how
did.
she talks. I know I'm still like a little bit raspy, but it'll go away. I was
Yeah.
definitely like, it was a long sickness, but at least I got it out of the way. Like, I don't want to do a whole episode on this, but people do ask, like, what do you do when you get sick in prep? And you just got to push through. Like, there's nothing you can do. I think
You
listening to
do.
your body is important. And I will say, like, this dragged on for 3 weeks. I never had a day where I was just like, I'm dead. Like, there was days where, I felt tired, but I never got like, felt like I got hit by a train. So I never had that little break in training, which is nice, but it dragged on. So, I mean, you just push through,
Yeah.
listen to your body, do what you can.
And like you said, we could make it a whole episode, but I like one of my preps, I got COVID for 2 weeks and
Oh,
it was the same thing though. Like, and I was like in the middle of prep, but, and I couldn't go
mhm.
to the gym, but the gyms were open. I think this was 2021, but I stuck to my nutrition plan. Like I did.
Yeah,
Like
you
if
got to.
I
Yeah.
didn't feel like eating, I would somehow soften my chicken to eat it. Like you just still got to do it. Like obviously you can't go
Hmm.
to the gym. But I stuck 100% to my nutrition plan and I got over it and I was fine and everything was what it was. You just got to
Yeah,
push through it. But
you
I feel like
do.
this
It
episode was
happens.
really, really helpful. Like,
Yeah,
I really
hopefully.
hope you
Yeah.
guys like learned some pretty neat tricks and some like feel really comfortable like talking to other people in the business and going to workshops. Because also always remember when you go to other workshops, there's also other people that have never gone to a workshop. So
Yeah,
like
you're not the
they're
only first
nervous.
time person. Yes.
Never. Like if you're nervous, they're nervous. Like
Hmm.
I'm still nervous and I go to them all the
Oh,
time.
me too. I have like raging social anxiety. I'm like
It's
in
weird.
the
Like
parking
I
lot,
even will know the people on like this stage talking, and I'll be like,
and you're still nervous.
okay, like where am I gonna sit?
Yeah. Oh, me too. I'm like, I hope I know someone. Oh my God.
Yeah. So never feel out of place. Never feel alone. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's anxious. It's okay. Like it's totally
Yeah,
okay.
totally. Awesome. Well, congratulations once again, Mandy,
Thank
on
you.
becoming a sponsored athlete with Toxic Angels. I'm like so happy. I'm so glad we got to spill the news today. We were waiting for
The
your coupon code
beans.
before we said anything, and we got it. So I'm so excited.
Mhm.
And then, so we'll link our codes below and then all of our other savings codes. And then if you guys have any questions or if you would be so kind as to leave us a review and a 5-star rating, we would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.